Hello and welcome to Polity with Davcat. My name is Davina. I'm always messing around with trying to find names for this broadcast, but regardless, my motivations are for bringing tea, talking about current events like Sean P. Diddy getting arrested, and Billie Eilish endorsing Kamala Harris and Tim Walz for president and vice president. And what else did I put up today? Oh, and that it's National Voter Registration today, because I'm heavily invested in keeping an autocrat out of the White House. And I realize that the right wing is often appropriate the terminology we use to denounce their fascist strategies and behavior, and they call us the fascists for sometimes fairly comical accusations like, oh, you want us to wear masks, you're clearly trying to subjugate us. Masks were a public health measure, and the states that adopted mask mandates lost less people to COVID. And if you count a reduction in the loss of lives to be a win, then you would have seen masking as a good thing, a protective thing. It's hard to suggest people mask now, but for those who have compromised immune systems or just things that make them vulnerable to respiratory and micro-clotting diseases like COVID-19, I endorse that protective, pro-social behavior of masking, even though, hard to keep it up once people had a few rounds of vaccinations. And anyway, definitely in a healthcare setting, I would enjoy masking up. Regardless, I just know it's still a contentious topic because there's still lots of good reasons for people to mask, and I just want to be supportive of that. Diddy today arrested. The Attorney General made some comments about freak-offs. I didn't really want to listen to it too much, but it sounds extremely exploitative and nasty, and we don't want to know about it, because whilst we support people making their own choices in their own bedrooms, you shouldn't choose to manipulate and abuse people and do non-consensual things. And the number of bottles of baby oil and lubricant that were allegedly found at P. Diddy's house, red flags. And obviously to law enforcement with more details, it's beyond red flag. It's arrestable, chargeable stuff. Blah. How can I relate that to politics? Well, I can relate it to politics because everything relates to politics. If you're not into politics, politics is still into you and still controls the parameters of or influences the parameters of your life. Your own actions dictate the course of your life, but things like access to healthcare, availability of jobs, a functioning economy, which you're more likely to have under Democratic presidents rather than Republican presidents who have been in office for 10 out of the last 11 economic recessions since World War II. It's a little under-discussed fact, but the truth of the matter is, because the Republican Party has for a number of decades now represented the interests of the uber elite in a core level, and on a surface level have tried to conscript the loyalty of people with a nostalgia for the olden times, a nostalgia for pre-civil rights eras and Confederacy dynamics, etc. They've conscripted those people at a culture war level by using the kind of coded language that suggests that Republicans are willing to defend what is normal for some people, and what is normal to them means being able to have white neighborhoods protected as exclusively white, and an avoidance of measures taken to redress past injustices. So, for example, affirmative action being introduced to try and mitigate the ongoing nature of the harms caused by historically excluding people from white universities, institutions of higher learning that excluded sometimes Jewish people as well, but definitely people of color for a long time, leading to a paucity of mentors in those institutions. So affirmative action was just designed to counter some of the residual negative effects of those recent historic occurrences. That's CRT, really, isn't it? That institutions will take on as normal behaviors, policies, strategies to exclude and segregate society. And those of us who oppose it are not afraid of affirmative action. We're not afraid of including people, and we're not afraid of the consequences of having a multi-plural democracy with migrants who are welcomed into communities rather than being vilified, having lies told about them, in order to demonize them and then capitalize on the supercharged energy that some people get when racism is sanctioned by being spoken from the mouths of officials in high office or candidates aspiring to high office. Let's have a listen to this guy's little publication here. He's made a video to illustrate the threat of, well, you'll see. You'll hear it. We'll listen to it together if you're listening.
I'm Project 2025, and this is every civil rights win we've had in the past century. I'm Project 2025, and I'm taking your money and giving tax breaks to the wealthy. I'm Project 2025, and you're a woman wanting to make decisions about your own body. You vote for Donald Trump, this could be you. So vote for Kamala Harris and protect yourself from Project 2025s like me.
So that's perfect way to reach out to people, because it's very visual. It has people shoving. It shows stakes. It's not just horse race reporting where you go, Democrats said this, but then Trump said that Democrats are all evil, without actually giving any weight to which accusations are supported by evidence and facts. Donald Trump's accusations that Democrats want to legalize killing babies after they're born, i.e. infanticide, isn't based in fact. It's based on a misrepresentation of palliative care discussed by the former governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, who's a pediatric neonatologist practicing now. And he discussed in a radio interview once that when a child has a terminal condition and is born without the ability to live for very long, the parents are given the opportunity to decline intrusive medical interventions that could prolong life briefly, and are instead given the opportunity to decide to go to a room by themselves to be able to hold their baby without nose tubes or cannulas and things, and just spend those final few moments as their baby passes together as a family. So that's what he discussed. His remarks have been represented over and over again by Donald Trump, who is not afraid to lie and mischaracterize something in order to spin a story that is persuasive to gullible people, unfortunately. Sorry to criticize gullible people as gullible, but if you weren't so gullible, Donald Trump wouldn't have the level of support he has now, despite being a noted insurrectionist who is recorded literally calling the Secretary of State of Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, and saying, I just need 11,780 more votes, in an attempt to bully and intimidate his way into overturning enough state results so that he could then be declared the winner of the 2020 election, which he lost. And he had multiple schemes to try and overturn Joe Biden's election victory. He had alternate slates of electors organized by a variety of corrupt lawyers, Jeffrey Clark, John Eastman, Cleta Mitchell. She escaped being charged, but John Eastman and Jeffrey Clark have been charged for their roles in the attempted coup, which involved, do I have my copy of the Constitution here? Yes, involved trying to activate a provision of the Constitution in the 12th Amendment, which has this little bit that says if there's no clear winner, then a delegate from each state should choose the winner in the House of Representatives. And Republicans had 26 states under their control versus Democrats having 24 states in the House of Representatives at the time of the 2020 election. They would have been bullied into choosing, well, might not have taken much bullying, but 26 different individuals, one delegate from each state, would have been constitutionally appointed to choose the president. I'll read it to you because it's Amendment 12, so it's not that tricky. Amendment 12. I should have this bookmarked. Here we go. Okay, the person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be the president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have such majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing the president, the vote shall be taken by states. The representation from each state having 1 vote, a quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member, blah, blah, blah. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president, whenever the right of choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president. But the point is, the crux of it is, there's a provision in the 12th Amendment to say, if there's no clear majority of electors won through the Electoral College system, then the House of Representatives can take 1 delegate from each state and vote immediately by ballot to pick who the president is. Very, very few people know this. A minuscule amount of people know this, but it was a big part of Donald Trump's scheme to overturn the election, to have Mike Pence say, this doesn't seem clear. There's too many accusations of fraud. I hear Hugo Chavez came back from the dead to rig some electronic voting machines or whatever. There's just been a lot of allegations. It's just all very, I can't perform my constitutionally mandated duty as vice president and certify the results of this election. It's just, no, it's not a coup. I'm just saying, no, it's just, there's no clear winner here. Okay. I'm not saying Trump. I'll just say no clear winner. And then let's just see, what does the Constitution say we should do next? A delegate from each state shall choose the president. But it's in the Constitution, 12th Amendment. That was their plan. And the mob on January the 6th, their task was just to sufficiently disrupt the proceedings, the gaveling in of Joe Biden's election win. So I hope you've learned something today. Please, if you feel motivated by discussing these events, the attempted coup, the mismanagement of COVID, which I didn't really discuss today, the using of women's bodies as collateral damage in the pursuit of appealing to the piety posturing of the evangelical right, not even evangelicals, just people who've been brainwashed into thinking that their own personal preferences about having an abortion or not should be generalized to extend to jeopardizing women's health, gambling with women's health by making their access to medical treatment for a variety of conditions really cloudy, just tying doctors' hands. And I read a doctor's testimony to the Senate today, in which they said it was degrading to feel that their hands were tied in being able to offer a D&C, a dilation and curettage procedure to get rid of any remaining fetal tissue that might be septic. If there's any remnant of cardiac activity in that dying fetus, they can't legally, they don't feel they have a clear legal pathway, because the language of these abortion laws is obviously not specific enough to cover all of the various medical circumstances you can have when a woman is partially miscarrying, has a septic uterus, has a placental abruption, has even an early cancer diagnosis that they might need an end to their early pregnancy to save their life. All of these things that can complicate a woman's life and leave her with not only loss of life, but there's middle grounds too. People can just be left with scar tissues on their fallopian tubes that renders them infertile or less fertile, because maybe they've got one remaining fallopian tube. I've heard and read so many different stories from women whose health has been impacted by the faux piety of Republican legislators trying to weaponize busybodiness. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's broadcast. Tune in again another day if you enjoyed it. You can search the hashtag Polity with Davkat, Davkat, if you want to hear from me again. Also, my account on Twitter is Davkat43. Yes, see you all again if you enjoyed today's broadcast, and even if you didn't. Register to vote, research the candidates. There's one logical choice if you don't enjoy insurrection, coups, chaos, pandemic mismanagements, manufacturing recessions, and more, and the type of inflation that would follow on from Trump's proposed tariff rules, which he's like, it'll give everybody money, it'll make everybody so rich. Tariffs are taxes on imported goods and goods made with imported components, it would raise the cost of goods substantially, putting the tax burden more on the shoulders of the middle and working class, whilst he used that to fund tax relief for the uber wealthy. Cheers, bye. I'm Davina. That's my name.